Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Wisdom and Wealth series that we do here on my page and my channel, wherever you are tuning in from. My name is Lanisha Marie, aka the Fly Coach, and Fly stands for fulfilling living a year round, because it is my goal and my intention to help individuals thrive in every area of life. So I hope you can see me. I hope you can hear me loud and clear. If you are tuning in live, go ahead and send a wave so that I know that you are here. If you are catching the replay on any of the platforms, go ahead and just put hashtag replay, because the conversation continues even after this live ends. But you already knew that. All right. And so why is wisdom and wealth a thing? Why do we talk about that here on my page and my channels? Is because number one, we have to utilize wisdom, okay, when it comes to creating and curating wealth, okay? We have to use wisdom and discernment. Hey, AJ. Hey. But we also have to use that same wisdom in order to maintain it and sustain it for future generations. So that's why it's wisdom and wealth, and that's why it is a thing. And I promise today we're going to dive right into the conversation. So today we're talking about that people don't buy when you're ready. They buy when they're ready. So if you are an individual and you're like, I'm in position already, just go ahead and put in the comments, I'm in position. I'm in the position, okay? Because we're going to be talking about what it really means to stay ready in your business, in your brand, and in your purpose. Because of course, everything that I do, it talks about, and it goes back to intentional living. That's why I help women create purpose-driven income streams. We want to make sure that we're doing things intentionally and that it aligns. And so this is all about staying ready in your business, even when it feels like no one is watching or when no one may be buying, okay? So let's start with the truth. And I already started out with it. People don't buy when you're ready. They buy when they're ready. And it is your responsibility to stay in position, okay? And so this line, I was actually in a conversation with someone earlier today, and I'm like, this is on my heart. I'm going to talk about this today because it's something that has been kind of a trend over the last couple of days. You know, people are coordinating events and different things, and the numbers are not looking like they thought they, or hoped that they would look. And I'm like, I literally did a live about this a couple of weeks ago, and I'm like, nope, this is still the theme for July, okay? And as I was reflecting on it today, I said, this is where I really started shifting when it came to me and how I chose to show up in businesses, because I used to get discouraged. Sometimes you post something and you like, oh my goodness, it doesn't get that many likes, or oh my goodness, are people seeing the content? And it's like, the one thing one of my mentors always says, and she may be watching, but my coach and my mentor and my director, Coach Carmen Ray, always says, people may not be liking, but they sure are looking. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, when I started out in my business and as I started my entrepreneur journey, it's like I would launch something, I would promote it, I would send out the emails, because your girl is all about systems. I would make the posts, and sometimes it's been crickets. So has that ever been you? Maybe even going live. Some people are so afraid to go live because they're like, number one, what if somebody shows up? But then on the flip side, they're like, well, what if nobody shows up? Am I going to be talking to myself? And the thing is, you're putting out evergreen content. People can watch it whenever, whether they watch it live or watch the replay. And as you know, I start all of my lives saying, whether you're watching this live or watching the replay, tune into this conversation, because my hope and goal is that you're going to get something out of it. And so have you ever been there? Have you ever put out something, an event or anything where it's like, oh my goodness, I'm getting crickets? So what I've learned as a coach and what I've learned as an HR consultant and even just a business mentor, working my travel business for these last 2 years, is that it's not that people aren't watching. It's just that sometimes they're not ready. And that's okay. But you want to know what your job is? I see you, AJ. You said evergreen. That is the point, right? We're putting out evergreen content that people can watch. And literally, and I've gone through so many different marketing coaches, all the things, because I'm like, I need to learn this, because I know this is not my area of brilliance. But it's like, you want people to be able to binge watch all of your stuff if they choose to at midnight. That's the whole point. And that's why it's important to stay in position. So this is what your job is. to stay in position so that when they are ready, you're the name that they remember. You're the one that they trust. You're the one that's already in motion. Because let's be honest, if you disappear every time you feel discouraged, you are making yourself unavailable for divine alignment. Okay, let me say it again. If you disappear every single time you feel discouraged, and this is why when it comes to working your business, you have to move beyond your feelings. Okay, that's where that discipline comes in. That's where the slight edge comes in of doing the simple thing consistently over time. It's because every time that you disappear because you feel discouraged, you're moving yourself out of position. So now you're not even available. So that now the person that needed to hear what you needed to say, they're not even going to see it. They're not even going to hear it because you're in your feelings. And so you're not showing up. Okay. So this is why it's so important to stay in motion, is to stay in position. So I'm going to give you 3 quick tips, and I'm going to hop off of here that will help you stay in position and help you start building wealth, not only in time and trust and in sales, while you wait, because sometimes it's built in your business is built in that waiting. Okay, people forget about the seed, time, and harvest. People want to plant the seeds and then reap the harvest the very next day, and it's like, no, it's built in that waiting season. Okay, so the first tip of how to stay in position in your business is stay consistent with your message. Okay, stay consistent in your message. So what we don't want you to do is don't change your message every 5 days based on what's trending or what's not performing. Now, you may use a different trending song, okay? Because I love finding a trending audio, okay? But don't change your message every 5 days just because something may not be performing, okay? Your audience needs repetition and clarity. And your consistency is what's going to build their confidence in you. So a couple of ways that you can do this. You choose 3 to 4 core pillars that you teach every single time, and you rotate those around your content. So people that know me know that I'm going to be talking about purpose. I'm talking about freedom. I'm talking about monetizing your gifts. I'm talking about faith, because we're not going to leave God out, because he is the source. Okay. He is the reason that we are here. And he's the giver of the assignment that he gave me, just like he gave each and every one of you an assignment. And so people know I'm going to talk about these things. And to sum it up, I always tell people, if you do not want to talk about God, goals, growth, or travel, go on and follow me. Just unfollow me, because this page is not for you, because I promise you I'm going to talk about those things. And it's in those 4 core pillars that we're talking about: purpose, freedom, monetizing our gifts, faith, and travel. We're talking about that here on this page. And so I rotate those core pillars in my content. And so that's why I want to say it's time to fly. It's time to fly, because it's something that I've consistently said over and over and over, because it's not just a slogan, it's a lifestyle for me. And people even know, like, so even though my business has gone through several different iterations, the underlying message has remained the same. And so when I shifted into fulfilling living year round, as I started tightening my message, as I tightened like who I wanted to talk to, who was I serving in those things, the message started out with aspire to inspire. That's where my coaching brand started. God, goals, growth, and travel. Yes, AJ. And so when I emerged as Coach Lanisha, this was back around like really in 2016 is when I really started posting on my page, and everything I was posting was around aspire to inspire. It was always, my mission has been unchanged. It's always been about, I just want, my hope and my goal and my prayer is that by whatever I do, however I show up in whatever space, whatever platform, whether it's virtual or in person, or if it's conversation, however it intersects, that I want an individual to leave my presence and leave my space feeling inspired and encouraged and empowered to go and do the thing that God is calling them to do. And my thing is, I aspire to inspire the individual, and I'm okay if it's only one, because if it's only one person, then I did my job. And so that is what my underlying message has always been. And then as I've gotten tighter, of course, because we're talking about growth on this page, right? So as I've grown in my entrepreneurial journey, now it's fulfilling living year round. And that's kind of summarizes everything together. So as it relates to you and your business and your brand, stay consistent with your message. Find those 3 to 4 core pillars that you teach, that you stand on it, and talk about it unapologetically in all of your materials and all of your marketing, and just rotate it. Okay. All right. Number 2, let's talk about it. Make invitations. Okay. Do not just share information. And I'll take it a step further, because even in my travel business, that what they say all the time is that an invitation is not a confirmation. You can make an invitation, but that doesn't mean the people get it. But I want to just dial in on, whenever you are posting, whenever you are sharing content, make sure that you're just not sharing information. Make sure you are inviting something. So many entrepreneurs teach, but they don't make the invitation. So if someone connects with your post, your live, what is their next step in the journey going to be? When it comes to putting out content, we have to always be thinking about what is the buyer's journey. Because I tell people this all the time. I'm not on here to just talk to myself, because I know this information. I'm on here to share stories, to share best practices, to continue learning and growing in all of our journeys. And so I'm not just on here just to share information. I want to make the invitation to say, guess what? Let's do something. I was in a conversation like within this last week, and I was telling the person, I said, I love your content you're doing. You're sharing great stories, you're sharing good information, but what do you want the person to do? You're not saying, hey, you're not asking an engaging question. Do you want them to have a conversation with you? You're not saying, hey, schedule a call with you. It's like, what is the next step that you want that individual to take? So make sure that you're not just sharing information, that you're making an invitation of some sort. So make sure you get clear and consistent in what your call to action is. Okay. Sometimes you'll see mine is DM the word fly, or join my community, or schedule a breakthrough strategy call. Sometimes it's just, let's have a dialogue. Let's converse. Let's engage in the comments. I really want to know your thoughts. Like, something. What do you want that individual to do based on the information that they read that you shared? Okay. So open the door. Sometimes it's just the mere fact that you're not opening the door. So that's tip 2. The last tip before I head on out of here is to serve like you are already booked. Okay. I want you to stop waiting for the crowd before you show up like a CEO. Something that we hear all the time is that if you treat your business, if you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. But if you treat it like a business, it'll pay you like a business. Like, people will never know. Like, when I walk into a room, trust and believe, you don't think that I'm earning 6 figures in my business. I'm not earning 6 figures yet, but we're not. Listen, we're gonna get there, okay? In these next 12 months or less, because I don't want to limit what God can do, because He can literally bring that 6 figures this month. Okay. We don't limit what God can do. We live without limits around here. But you have to show up in spaces like you're already like you're supposed to be there. Like you already know what you're doing. Okay. Because the right people, this is such a good nugget. The right people are always watching silently. The right people are always watching silently. So that's why when it comes to business, one of the sayings that I often always hear is that you can never say the wrong thing to the right person. You can't, because the right people are always watching silently. So here's a tip and here's a stretch goal for you. Go live, share some value, and speak as if your ideal client is already in the room, okay? Because it's highly likely that they are. It's highly likely that they are. So that's why it's so important to show up and show up consistently, because wealth isn't, here's what I'm going to wrap up with. Wealth is not just about money. It's about relationships. It's about trust. It's about reputation. It's everything that you're building right now if you stay in position. Okay. So if you're feeling discouraged, if you're feeling unseen, I want to just remind you really quickly that, again, that people may not be liking, but they sure are looking. And not only are they looking, they're listening. They're listening and they're watching. And when they're ready, your name needs to be the one that they remember. So that's why it's so important to keep showing up. Okay. What did you say, AJ? You said the right people are always watching silently. Yep. Isn't that good? And so if we need to give them something to watch, what are they watching? Okay. Some of y'all, we haven't seen y'all until I literally went to someone's page. I'm working with a business now, and I went on their page. They haven't posted since 2022. I said, you haven't posted since 2022. What are we doing? You can't tell me you in business and you haven't posted since 2022, okay? Because of course, I know people have a love-hate relationship with social media, but understand this. It's the world that we live in. So if you are running a business, you need to be where your buyers are. Where are your people? You need to go where your people are. And that's not to negate, because I love networking. So I go to networking events. I do all the things. Yes, I love referrals, but you need to show up, and you need to show up where your people are, okay? So as I get ready to wrap on up out of here, if you are building something meaningful, if you are committed to doing it the right way, with purpose, with intention, with faith, I want to personally invite you. Make sure that you get connected with me, okay? If this is your first time watching this, I want to invite you. Make sure you like, subscribe, you share, you do all of the things. But go ahead and join my free Facebook community. The Fly Society is for purpose-driven women in life, business, and travel, because that's where we talk about strategy. That's where we talk about faith. That's where we talk about growth, the mindset shifts, all the things. But I'm making some exciting new updates with the Fly Society in that community. And so we go live, we do coaching, all the things. So make sure that you stay connected. If you liked anything that I said, if something stood out to you, go ahead and share it in the comments, okay? I want to make sure that you are hearing what is being said. Does something resonate with you? What is something that you're like, Lanisha, I needed that. I needed to hear that, and I need to go back and strategize. But don't strategize for too long, okay? Because show up. Don't wait till it's perfect. Don't wait till the lighting. I would love a much better recording studio, right? But we start where we are and we grow where we're going. So I want to just thank y'all for tuning in and sticking with me. And if you enjoyed something, go ahead and share it in the comments, because the conversation continues even after this live ends. So, but I'll leave you with this. Stay in position, stay consistent, and the people will come. Have an awesome and amazing day, and I will see y'all next week. Talk to you later.